Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We have Tasini who will be talking to everybody about application security. You may take it away.
Thank you, Alan. And hi, everybody. Before we start, I would like to thank you to Co-Smith, Jenny, and Brackett for sponsoring this Tech Talk tonight on application securities. And I also would like to thank to you, all of you, for attending today. Application security is a major issue worldwide that we only become more prevalent and more the world modernizes. What is the securities? What is security? Security is making something more safer and protected. Come in as many forms. Physical security is like door locks or a guard, as we know. Or information security, which cover protecting any all kinds of informations from a paper to electronics. There is also cyber securities. Security with focus on the electronics world. A subset of this is application securities, protecting software and applications using secure coding techniques and software security too. Let's move on to the next slides. Why do we need to have application securities? The answer is very simple because we are developers, we are humans. We kind of like focus on creating new feature, functionalities, designs, and performance. But at the same time, we also introduce unsafe or unwanted functionalities known as vulnerabilities. Bad hackers, or criminals can find these unintended functionalities, these vulnerabilities in our code, and then use them to do bad things like gain access to steal data in our system. Another reason is we have to have application security to comply with regulations and compliance frameworks. These compliance frameworks are created by the governments or industry sector to help secure cost system. Custom code software that we created sometimes has to comply with these compliance frameworks or standards to increase securities. The credit card industry created the PCI DSS for card data. The US government created standards like NEST 853 to protect their own data. HITRUST CSF was created for healthcare or NIPE data, and internationally, the International Standards Organizations create ISO 21001 for anyone to use to protect their own informations. Let's move on to the next slides. Okay, here we are. Now we know now how we go to about adding application security to software as we write. First is by educating ourselves on secure coding practices. In this one is mean includes reading sizes, additionals to create secure codings or attending training on the secure codings events or any websites or study on any internet. The second is to learn to leverage software security tools. These tools can be open source or vendor provided to that target specific area on application securities. Um, as secure coding practices can be introduced into SDLC to create a secure SDLC or SSDLC. These secure coder practices are available so many websites such as OAuth and Miners. The Open Web Application Security Projects, or as we know, OAuth, has so many projects on their website to learning application securities and secure coding practices. The OAuth Top 10s will cover the top 10 coding vulnerabilities categories, which will be updated annually each year. And the Miner corporations, Miner has so many projects as well, and one is cybersecurity. Miters had an attack framework with least attack techniques used by hackers, and also has the CWE Top 25, with a list of 25 weaknesses in software development. Okay, let's move on to what is the OAuth top 10 that as I say on the last slide. Having to understand what is OAuth 10 standards, because we don't have much time today, I'm gonna just pick focus one from OAuth top 10. It's the one of top 10 vulnerabilities. Let's look at one of the real world example, which will be related and close to us to help our understanding. Injection vulnerabilities allow the attacker tracker to inject extra data on an input field and either add or change data on the system. This will bypass the system securities. There are many types of injections attract with those that focus on the databases and directories services being in commons. SQL injections is a code injection techniques that might destroy your databases. Is one of the most common web hacking techniques and can be placements of malicious code in SQL statements via web page inputs. SQL injections occur when a user control input is appended to the SQL statements dynamically without input validations. In this case, on the slides, the attacker may provide malicious inputs and change the SQL statements behaviors. And then that will carry out their malicious activities on to our system. SQL injection usually occur when you ask a user for input, like their username or user ID. And instead of the names or ID, user give you an SQL statement that you will unknowingly run on your database. See on examples at the slides. The rest of this chapter describe the potential dangers of using user ID, user inputs in SQL statements. SQL injection based on 1 equal to 1 is will be always true. Look at the same example again. The original purpose of the course was to create an SQL statement to select a user with a given user ID. Then the SQL statement will be look like select star form user where ID equal to 105 or 1 equal to 1. The SQL in example is valid. So it will return all rows of the user table since all 1 equal to 1 will be always true. That the example in slide is look dangerous. What if the user table contains names and passwords and key in the input field? The SQL statement in the slides is much the same like select user ID, name, passwords from users where user ID is set to 105 or 1 equal to 1. The hacker might get access to all the usernames and passwords in the database by simply just insert 105 or 1 set to 1 into the input field. That's very dangerous. Once we have learned secure coding practices, we have to put them into practice in two ways. First, we need to utilize our knowledge to create our code in the safer manners. And secondly, we need to utilize our knowledge of secure coding practices when we review our code to help cache code that may not be secure from going to the production. In this slide, there are so many thousands of software vulnerabilities, and even the most skilled persons would not be able to write perfectly secure codes. So intelligent coders come up with tools that will help it out. There are tools that that analyze outsource codes called static application security tools. There are tools that analyze the libraries and open source additionals to our codes called software composite analysis tool. There are tools that analyze our applications while the code is running. It's called Dynamics Application Security Tools, and also it's called at the names Interactive Application Security Tool. Finally, there are vulnerability scanner that will scan our applications from the internet or from inside our companies across to the internet. We have a lot of responsibility as we software engineers. How do we accomplish creating small secure code? Of course, we have to work at the teamwork, and SADLC incorporates many people as several teams to include software security as many points in the development circles. For example, with CI/CD pipelines, which we already have Tech Talk last week. Developers first work at the right secure codes and review codes following secure coding guidelines. The pipelines can incorporate both SAST and SCA tools to review the secure codes for security issue. Then the QA teams or security teams can execute the AST or IAST tools against to run applications. Finally, after codes move to production, the running applications will be scanned by vulnerability scanner. During each of these steps, the issue are identified. If the issues still are identified, they must be fixed and the testing repeated to verify and the fix was successful. Here and on the next page, and additional resources to learn more about application security with I use to resource to study for Tech Talk tonight. And application security is the brand new word for us to learn as we become better software engineers. Remember, as we are developers, we are responsible for creating security applications. I hope my Tech Talk today will inspire all of you to be aware to focus more on security system and our applications. So that's all for my presentation today. Thank you for you all. And I will be passed to Alan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meow. We have time for a quick question if anybody has one on security or for Meow. Yes, Dwayne.
Great talk, Mia. Yeah, I didn't even think to put security in. I didn't know that security was included in my little CI/CD pipeline. So really, thanks for that. So quick question. So could you use the security tools? Like I think you mentioned SAST and DAST and STA. Can you do the? Can you use those tools without a CI/CD pipeline?
The answer is, of course, they can work or work without CI/CD pipeline and do not need to work at the CI/CD pipeline to work with R2. But if you add R2, that's what I just present, it will be more safer and running is easy for us as developers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Darwin.
All right. And on that note, thank you so much, Meow, on your Tech Talk. And everybody have a wonderful night.